But, of course, the other big royal news today is that The Crown is out. I should have been binging it all day today in my other role as a royal commentator, but I haven't had time, so I'm going to have to rely on those who have. And of course, the royal family, we know, are upset about some elements of this series because it's much closer to home.
Yes.
Chronologically, historically, we're now getting really quite recent, and it's going to be very, very painful. It's your time. It's Princess Diana's time.
Yeah, so it's upsetting.
Have you seen it, Paul?
I've seen some of it. Yeah. I'm finding it very upsetting. She has a very good portrayal of the princess, and that's unnerving.
Yes, apparently it's uncanny.
At times, for me, it's unnerving to hear her voice. She's obviously studied her voice very well. She's coming across... But you know what I don't like? I don't like to see the princess constantly being portrayed as a wounded animal, constantly crying, constantly alone. They've made her into a very tragic figure, which, of course, she was, but not all of the time.
But they made Charles
did have some fun.
They made Charles into a rather unpleasant figure, don't you think?
Well, it's very timely, isn't it? Coming at this time, just before Harry's book and just before coronation, it's going to paint a very different picture. The danger is that the public will believe everything they see. I wish I could sit on the couch with everybody in the United Kingdom and say, that's not true. That didn't happen.
Well, I think maybe more people... I mean, Jenny, I don't know if you agree with me. I think more Brits will take it with a pinch of salt than Americans or other, overseas viewers who are much more likely to think that this is a sort of docudrama and everything is factually correct. And I also am a bit worried hearing that the Queen is portrayed as really very austere and sort of grumpy in this series, which I think isn't fair.
Yeah, I dislike a great deal about this new series. I've seen quite a lot of it, and also the series that they are filming. I think to portray the death of Diana, to be filming with a black Mercedes, which they are for the next series, with paparazzi surrounding that Mercedes. I mean, how would anyone feel? How will William and Harry feel having their mother's death portrayed on television for the entertainment of millions of people around the world as they lounge on their settees with a glass of wine? I think it's desperately cruel and insensitive, and I actually don't think they should be making another series, and I don't actually think they should have made this one. I think they should have left it at the end of series 4.
Do you think that, Paul, that as we get closer to the present day, this series, this drama has become more and more painful, I think, particularly for members of the royal family? Do you think it's time to call a day now?
I agree with Jenny completely. I think it's becoming very distasteful. In the past, when we saw Claire Foy portraying the Queen, we don't remember that era. We don't know the truth about that, and it was quite entertaining. But as it gets closer to present day, and in our living memory, we remember these scenes, there's something odd about it. I don't feel very comfortable about this series at all.
Yeah. Jenny, I want to ask you about the general attitude of the British public towards the royals now that we've moved on from the Queen to the King. And, of course, we saw those pictures earlier this week of Charles and Camilla having eggs thrown at them. Luckily, none of them actually landed on them, but it was very, very close. And I just wonder if this is something we should get used to more, a slightly lack of respect, or whether this type of thing has happened to royals for hundreds of years and we've just got to accept it.
Oh, I think the latter. Yes, it has happened over the decades. I mean, the Queen had an egg thrown at her in the 60s in Canada. I was with Prince Charles in New Zealand when a man lunged at him with an aerosol and tried to spray. I was with him in Australia when a man firing a starting pistol jumped up onto the stage, and Charles was thrown almost to the ground, actually, by his protector. His protection officer, I should say. So it has happened over the years, and it will happen again. I mean, it's not particularly because they're royals, it's just a hazard of public life, I think.
I want to just say, I don't think The Crown's very good. I never have. I think it's a bit it's like a cheapo, not particularly well-formed drama.
I loved it in the early series because it used to tell me stuff I didn't know. The sort of historical stuff and the political stuff I found really fascinating. And the royals were sort of just the added bit of stardust. But
Claire
actually
Foy
now it's
was
just...
spot on.